South Carolina. It's the JoJo Cool Football Pick Show Week 4. Here's your host and star of our show, JoJo Cool, and her co-host, Outlaw Jimmy James.
Hello, my name is JoJo Cool, and this is Outlaw Jimmy James.
And we'd like to welcome you folks to Week 4 to JoJo Cool's Football Picks. JoJo, you had a rough week this week, but you still did a lot better than the professionals. I tied you again this week at 84% correct. We both went 84%, and she does not like that. She wants to be in the high 90s, which she usually is, but I told her it's still a great job, and you did a wonderful job. You should be proud of yourself. What we got for this week, JoJo?
Well, this past weekend we had full of weather delays on the East Coast on a bunch of different games, and we had 4 overtimes. 3 of them were double overtimes, and that's about it so far.
Well, we'd like to also let everyone know we did have a guest picker today. He had some family issues come up. He didn't get to make it. We will reschedule him. We're not going to tell you who it is yet. We're going to try to surprise you, but we will have one next week for you as well. But JoJo, let's talk about some of the games. What was your favorite and what was your least favorite?
I think my favorite was Alabama, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that game. I picked Alabama to win, but I loved that. I love that Texas won.
I did love it. Texas dominated them from the start to the finish. The defensive line and offensive line dominated them and just kept Alabama on their heels all night long, and I love it. Good job, Texas.
Do you think Texas is back?
I believe they are. If they keep playing the way they are and keep the intensity, yes, they're back. And when they come into the SEC next year, they're going to have a lot more tougher competition, but they are going to be even better, and they will be able to compete in the SEC next year.
Because we talked about that before. I said Texas would win the SEC their first year.
And I said, no, you're nuts.
Everybody's
But
crazy.
I don't think you're nuts now after seeing that game.
Because everyone thinks Oklahoma and Texas will be a pushover team, but after last night, I don't think they'll think that now.
Well, let me ask you this. A lot of people online are yapping and complaining about Clemson and about Alabama losing. They're saying, oh, Clemson's dynasty's over. Oh,
So is Alabama.
Texas, Alabama's dynasty's over. What do you think?
Alabama might be. They've been going downhill. I think Clemson's been going downhill too. They both busted my bracket week 1 and 2 because I had them both going to the final. But that doesn't mean they're completely out. There's a bunch of weeks left in football. They can claw their way back up to the number 1 through 4 spots.
Yes, they can. But let me say this to everybody watching, okay? All you naysayers out there, let me tell you something. Clemson Tigers are in a rebuilding year with young players. Alabama's got some young players. Leave Dabo alone. Keep your mouth shut, putting him down. He'll turn the program around and get them back to where they were. Leave them alone. Other coaches, great coaches have been through this before. Bear Bryant, Joe Paterno, all of them have had teams that not win all their games and win championships and then turn around and win it all again. Leave him alone and they will turn it around.
Because he said he's not going anywhere.
No, he's not. He's the best coach they've had since Danny Ford. And Danny Ford was the best one we had since Frank Howard. Leave him alone. He's a good coach and he'll do great. What else you got for us, JoJo?
I think we should go ahead and start getting into some of the games.
All righty. Well, let's start, and I'm going to let you call them first, JoJo, and I'm going to see what you pick, and I'm going to say what I want to pick.
What about Georgia versus South Carolina? I picked Georgia.
Well, Jaron, I'm going to agree with you. Georgia will dominate the Gamecocks and beat them.
I think it'll be a close game. The past game they just played, they put up 31 points in 1 quarter, but I think some was on offense, some was on defense, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that with South Carolina. They're going to have to spread out the points. It's going to be a tough game, but I think they'll barely squeeze one out.
I agree with you. Carolina seems to get up for them and Clemson every year, every single year. All right. What we got next?
Michigan over Bowling Green. I'm picking Michigan in an easy win.
I'm agreeing with you again. Michigan will beat them pretty soundly. Although I like Bowling Green and they fight hard, but they just don't have enough firepower for Michigan.
Florida State over Boston College. I'm picking Florida State, but Boston College will play them hard for at least a quarter.
I agree with you again. Florida State's just got too much for them, and it's going to be Florida State over BC.
Texas and Wyoming. I think Texas will win that one. They're coming off that big win against Alabama. I think they're going to take that one and win that one.
I like the Cowboys. They're having a great year. They got a great coach. but they're still not up to the par of Texas. Texas will win it. Next we got Ohio State and Western Kentucky.
I'm going to pick Ohio State.
Yeah, the Hilltoppers just don't have enough for Ohio State at all. Ohio State will take it to them pretty soundly. All right. Next up, we got Penn State and Illinois.
I'm going to pick Penn State in a close win.
Yeah, Illinois always plays them tough, but I'm going to go with Penn State as well. We got Washington and Michigan State.
I'm going to pick Washington. I always like Washington. I like them winning. Penix got some good plays. I'm going to pick Washington.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Huskies is just too much for the Spartans, and it's going to be Washington over Michigan State.
Notre Dame over Central Michigan. Notre Dame's been putting up some points. They struggled a little bit against NC State, but they pulled it out in the fourth quarter. I think they'll pull it out with Central Michigan as well.
I agree with you. Notre Dame was just got too much for Michigan State. Central Michigan. The Chippewas play tough, but they're not going to be tough enough. Then up next we got Alabama and South Florida.
Well, that'll be an easy win for Alabama.
Alabama's going to be ticked off after that loss. They are going to come back more vicious, and they are going to take it to South Florida. All right, here we go. Game day is going to be with the Colorado and Colorado State game. I think the Buffaloes are too much for the Rounds, and the Deion Sanders has got those Buffaloes going playing some really good football, and I think Colorado will be over there in-state rivals the Rams.
I picked against Colorado both games. I'm jumping on that Colorado train. I'm picking Colorado.
All right, up next, our Clemson Tigers are going to take on Florida Atlantic. That's a 3:30 game. No, it's going to be a night game. 3:30 is a Florida State game, so that's going to be a night game. But I'm going to pick Clemson over Florida Atlantic.
I'm going to pick Clemson. I think it'll be an easy win. Also, this will be the 101 game Dabo has coached at Death Valley.
Wow.
He has won 92 of them so far, and he'll get his 93rd this week.
There you go. Clemson is my favorite team. My second favorite team coming up, LSU against Mississippi State.
I'm going to go with Mississippi State.
Whoa, okay. So JoJo goes there. That's where we part ways. I'm going to go with LSU over Mississippi State. Mississippi State is struggling a little bit, but I think the Tigers are going has their number. All right, Ole Miss and Georgia Tech.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
It'll be an easy win.
I too think so. We watched that Georgia Tech Louisville game. Georgia Tech looked good. In a couple of plays, a couple of series in that game against Louisville, and then they just fell apart. I think Ole Miss is going to be way too much for them. Then we got North Carolina and Minnesota. That's going to be a tough one right there.
Yep, because North Carolina almost lost to App State.
App State is a tough one. They're a giant killer.
That's one of their rivals. They went into overtime, almost lost, but I think North Carolina will take this one.
That's going to be a very, very close one. I had to toss a coin for them, and I think the Tar Heels will beat Minnesota. But that's our picks for this week. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Life FM, with Super Dave as a radio host. What you want to talk about, JoJo?
Before we leave, we're going to talk about Southern Cal. They don't play this week, but we're going to talk about them anyhow because every time they play, they put up over 40-something points on every team. 40, 50, 60-something points. So I still have them going all the way to the championship.
So
what do you think?
You're not changing your mind on them?
Nope.
I think if they continue like that, they will be in the playoffs. I think Georgia's going to be in it. I'm not so sure about Alabama anymore. Michigan will be in it, so that is a very good pick. USA.
How do you think about Colorado? People are putting them in there now.
Well,
they have to get past Southern Cal.
They've only played a couple of games. They've done good so far. They still got their tough schedule. They could lose, so the rest of them we don't know. But he does have them fired up, playing some great ball. Some really good ball. He's just got to get control of some of them that are getting a little too emotional, so they won't have the penalties thrown. But they got some great athletes, and I think they're going to give the Pac-12 a run in their last years as a conference.
One other game we didn't touch on: Tennessee and Florida.
Oh, how did we forget that one?
I don't know.
Well, who do you have? Let's write that one down.
They're playing at Florida in the Swamp. Tennessee has won twice. in 51 seasons. Their last win was in 2003, but I think Tennessee is going to win this one.
You know, I agree with you. And folks, we're sorry we left that one out. That's why we got the female phenom here because she knows everything about football. I too will pick Tennessee over Florida. And I think it's going to be a little bit easier game than what most people think.
I think it'll be a tough game, actually,
Oh, there you go.
since they struggle with Austin P. But
Austin
I think-
should have went to the restroom earlier. Oh, you're talking about the football team. Oh, sorry, folks.
So I think Tennessee's going to win this one over Florida because they're struggling. But I think Tennessee's going to take the first win in the swamp since 2003.
That will be awesome. I tell you what, so far it's been a good year. So far you've been hitting on all cylinders as always. Folks, you need to listen to the female phenom with her football picks. And again, like I said, we'd like to thank a sponsor, Life FM with Super Dave. If you want to sponsor us, contact us here and we'll tell you how to do it. And I'd like to thank our engineer and our producer, Dylan Nix, for putting all this together for us. He's doing a great job trying to get him out here so he can do his football picks as well. I'd like to thank the host and the star of the show, JoJo Cool, in her picks. And I'm really having a lot of fun doing this. I look forward to it every single week.
All right, thank you for tuning in and tune in next week for another brand new show.